Good morning. Good morning. How is everybody doing this morning? JTW here with another Xtrades FOMO live stream for you here Thursday, October 3rd, 2024. Hope you guys and gals are ready to dig into some charts this morning. We'll go over some trade plan reviews, and then we will also work on some new trade plans, do some general market analysis, all the usual parts of planning our day that we go through here on these FOMO live streams. Get ready because we are going to dig in. Let me get my screen sharing going over to the Discord. Excuse me. All right. So, what are we looking at here? What's up, Unknown Reviews? Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. What are we looking at here on the markets? And also for anybody who is just joining us, please feel free to chime in, say what's up when you get here. Always like to hear from folks, like to see that you're in the mix and paying attention to what we're doing on these FOMO live streams. All right, so let's take a look at the market in general, and then we'll get into some trade plan recaps and reviews, see how things are going with our trade plans. And then we will obviously get into some new trade plans this morning to get ready for today and to close our week out strong and hopefully continue to kick off the month of October on a positive note. So with that said, let's dig in. While I dig into this cup of coffee. All right, so from an ES standpoint, we've clearly struggled with a supply zone overhead. Not really holding this 333 SMA the way I would like for us to be holding it. But we are finding some bounces down here out of this demand zone just below. It's a pretty large demand zone that we have underneath us right now. So, that will bring that will bring bulls and buyers in slowly but surely as we test through these levels of this demand zone. But what I'd really like to see is ES continue to reclaim or work on reclaiming this 333 SMA, which it appears to be doing here pre-market this morning. And I'd also like to see it clear over 57.74.25. We saw a rejection there yesterday going into the latter half of the day as far as futures go. But I'd like to see it get over that 57.74.25 to continue to push a little bit higher and possibly get up toward testing this current supply zone, which also has kind of a little bit of a cap on our all-time high there. So pay attention to all that. Again, over 57.74.25, we could see a pretty nice recovery as far as ES goes, and that will also, I would expect that to move a lot of tickers in the market. So anyway, that's kind of ES. I'd say we're in a little bit of a chop zone here, just to kind of give you all some expectations until we break above that 57.74 or below 57.24. So a little bit of a 50-point range here that we'll probably want to keep on watch. Don't get too heavy trying to go short or bearish, or too heavy trying to go super long or bullish until we see something give way, I would say, on either side of this range that we're talking about. And also you could play within that range, right? Play for rejections and expect, perhaps some pullbacks and some downside as we test that 57.74 level. And then obviously potential bounces and support coming in at 57.24. So with that being said, let's get to some ticker reviews. We did member selected trade plans over the weekend, which I try to do every weekend to help keep everybody fed with solid performing trade plans. Here we have NVIDIA. We talked about this one a little bit Tuesday, saw a really nice bounce. So let's maybe talk through it a little bit more than that. So we talked about looking for it to try to catch some support and see if it holds over our call entry because we were above it going into market open on Tuesday when we did our live stream. Clearly that did not hold, as did most things with the market with the pullback. So we broke below, got down to PT2 for puts after confirming a break below the put entry level. PT2 for puts, little bounce there, and then during the extended hour session, finished the move all the way down to PT3. I mentioned this, I think yesterday, that it looked like NVIDIA was trying to build a base and that we had hit all of the levels that I was expecting us to hit for a downside move before we might see a bounce. Well, what happened? We certainly see a bounce playing out currently. Also, NVIDIA had some good news with regards to the Blackwell chips. I believe Jensen said that those are shipping and the demand is absolutely ridiculous for them. So, picked up a bounce there off of PT3 for puts, key support there. That's where we would expect that downside move to complete, and it did. That pushed us all the way back up to the call entry. Struggled a little bit with the 200 SMA. But eventually did break over it going into the close, and then back tested that put entry here as support before getting that news and soundbite from Jensen on the Blackwell chips. And I think there was also a partnership or something that they announced as well. Maybe this will tell me right here. Accenture, that's what it was. Yeah, partnership with Accenture. On training them on NVIDIA's AI tools. So that's big news there as well. That pushed us up toward the 333 SMA there. We saw a little bit of a rejection. We're now bouncing off of that put entry here pre-market and trying to break and reclaim the call entry at this point. So really great move. I mean, if you caught the bottom there off of PT3 for puts from 114.79, I mean, that's over a $6 move in just a single day. So 6% in your favor, essentially, with where NVIDIA trades a little less than 6%, probably closer to 5%, actually, if I'm being honest. So anyway, 5% move in that short amount of time. Great options trade opportunity there. And like I said, now we're kind of just waiting for a confirmed break over the call entry to see if we can't get continuations through our upside price targets. So NVIDIA plan played out beautifully, downside. Caught beautifully with that PT3 for puts down there at 114.79. Granted, that did play out during the extended hour session, but that's something that we've talked about frequently that you always have to be mindful of and careful about when it comes to swinging your options contracts, because sometimes your plans can play out, your targets can hit, but those targets are in place because there are levels at which the price can reverse and go against the trade. So if we're playing downside, these are all levels where we want to take profit, move our stops up, because again, these bounces can happen. And as you see here at PT3 for puts, that bounce did take place and is pushing us much higher over the last little more than 24 hours. All right, coin. This one we talked about yesterday. Pre-market, it was breaking to the downside, was looking fairly bearish here on the 15-minute, especially from a Neptune perspective. Then we got the gap up, but gap up right into the 200 SMA and the selling pressure there on Neptune. There was also a level, not a key level from our plan, but there is a support and resistance there at 180.57 that ultimately coin rejected, plummeted down through all of our price targets to the downside very rapidly. This one moved way too fast for me to do anything with it because I wasn't already in on this confirmed break below that happened on Monday, but nonetheless, if you did follow this coin plan, all of the targets hit and then some. Seems to be consolidating a little bit, definitely overextended to the downside at the moment. I'd be very interested to see if it doesn't maybe go for a nice recovery move, if it can break back over 169.02, so keep that level on watch. But over 169.02, I would expect at least a test around this 333 SMA here on the 15-minute. And then, potentially all the way up to 177.45. So keep those levels on watch, reutilize these levels from the plan. That's why I put the charts out, and always encourage you all to make sure that you're making notes of my levels on your charts. Make sure that you set alerts so you know when it's time to pay attention to the charts and which charts you need to be looking at to potentially execute some of these trade plans. I also got the blessing from the higher ups in Xtrades to try to create some webhooks to feed some of my alerts into the Elite Options chat. So keep your eyes open for that. There will probably be some testing at first initially. I will do my best to keep the noise to a minimum and clean that stuff up quickly as I get through some of the testing settings to get the alerts displaying correctly in Discord as they get fed into our chats from my trading view. So anyway, kind of quick aside there on that. Let's finish up our trade plan review so we can get some new trade plans though. So Apple, we talked about this, dumping hard yesterday after losing that call entry level. So we did get some upside price targets. Again, topped out pretty much right there at PT2 for calls pre-market, dumped hard, tried to hold the call entry as support. That didn't help or happen. So broke below, back tested that call entry as resistance and rejected really, really hard. And eventually completed the move all the way down to PT1 after breaking below and giving us a back test entry here off of 225.49 for puts if you didn't take that entry up there and kind of reverse engineer or re-engineer the plan levels for you. For yourself, I mean, you got this break below, back test, push down, and like I said, another break below, back test of the put entry, PT1 for puts hit, so targets hit, stop should be moved up, and looks like it's breaking below and back testing that put entry again here at 225.49 pre-market with a lot of pressure overhead, especially with these SMAs where they're at, and where with Neptune sitting where it's at. Let's take a look at the 15-minute real quick. Well, it's catching some good buying pressure there, though, on the 15-minute. So a little bit of a conflicted setup. However, one thing I will note is where there is some selling pressure kind of finishing up here on the 15-minute right around 226.02. I believe that would get us over, pretty close to getting us over all of the noise on the 5-minute as well. So keep an eye on Apple to potentially go for a fill of this small gap. If it can break over, let's just make sure we're giving it enough room. 226.23 could be a push up at least to 227.16 and a pretty quick one. And then if it can break over that, we could see a continued recovery from there. So that could wind up being a pretty good potential entry level there. Why is that not giving me? Man, TradingView moves stuff around way too often. Let's just do this. We'll make a quick little level here, although it's not one I'm going to leave on my it's because I'm selecting this long short tool. That's why. Sometimes things get unnecessarily tricky. All right, let's just hide this for a sec. So what I was trying to do, there we go. So this is the kind of thing that I would recommend you do if we're talking about a key level to pay attention to. 5-minute. Maybe I want to be alerted every time the price crosses up that level or only once. It looks like they've changed around some of their alert settings since the last time I set some up. A lot of mine are mostly recurring. But anyway, Apple potential early bull entry, something like that. Go ahead and create that alert so you know if and when Apple's given us an opportunity for that kind of early-ish entry there. Based on how those indicators are setting up. All right, Constellation Brands. This one was for unknown reviews. Was playing out to the put side of things going into their earnings report. So breaking below and back testing, seeing some rejections, especially going into the close of the day yesterday as they got ready to report earnings this morning pre-market. There was an initial pump, it looks like, but now we're down at PT1 plus for puts. So unknown reviews, were you on the bear side of this one? That you asked about on Tuesday. So, excuse me, I've got some like throat or sinus issues or something going on this morning that just don't want to go away. My apologies. So, Constellation Brands playing out to the downside, like I said, may possibly see all three targets before this move is completed. So Constellation Brands in play, but definitely a risky entry swing into earnings report. But unknown reviews, that's his style. So whatever works for you, stick to it. Amazon, Adobe's next. Holding our put entry as support here, rejected the call entry yesterday. So there's really been no confirmed entries from our trade plan that we did Tuesday morning. Will be very intriguing for potential buy the dip opportunity on Amazon if 183.50 holds going into the open. So keep that on watch and keep that in mind. And then last but not least, Adobe. Looks like it does want to break to the downside. Rejected near our call entry, caught that selling pressure there with those SMAs kind of stacked up near each other and trending down. Neptune on the bearish side of things, so really nice rejection of that confluence there. Pushing us down to the put entry, trying to reclaim it as support this morning. So keep that on watch. I think another break below 505.24 probably does bring, at the very least, our first price target. Also, really interesting resistance confluence up there at 512.50 with the 200 SMA. The key level from our plan there at 512.50 and Neptune key selling pressure all stacked up at the same spot at the same time. Those are great confluence rejection setups. So with that, let's get to some new ticker requests. Ryan Brown, Neo did great again. Neo did great again. The one that I keep changing how I want to pronounce. Yeah, this one's played out multiple times to the upside from our plans. Yep. Good call, Ryan. And then some, actually pushing over a lot of my key levels and getting up into the 6-7 range. Very nice moves for Neo, for sure. All right, so let's take a look at RH for unknown reviews. Restoration Hardware, not to be confused with Robinhood. Everybody thinks RH, Robinhood. Robinhood's ticker is Hood. All right, so, and I'm assuming, earnings report not coming up right away. So is there a catalyst or something that's got your interest peaked on this one? Unknown reviews? Typically, you're the earnings catalyst player, but that's 60 plus days out on Restoration Hardware. I'm just checking to see if we've got any levels in here that I don't have yet. Big move off that last earnings report, though. And it looks like we did a trade plan for it. Yeah, it built up over the call entry, nice base. Then that earnings report came and just absolutely smashed through everything. Wow, what a move. Let me clean up this stuff down here real quick while I'm looking at it. Sorry. Apologies, quick housekeeping. Whoops, that's the opposite of what I wanted to do. There we go. All right. Says, yeah, they've obviously traded up in this range before. It just looks like there's a support resistance trying to develop somewhere in this range, but it's a little murky. I'm gonna drop kind of a placeholder line down just for a minute. We'll see if it gets locked in as anything. Yeah, that's kind of what I was looking at. Let's check this on the hourly. Yeah, I think that we've got a level there. Lunar, we can take a look at Lunar again. I feel like I did a trade. Was that? I think it was a member selected trade plan on Lunar recently. But we can certainly take a look at it. All right. So Restoration Hardware. Big question for me is where... Sorry. I'm debating with myself a little bit over this level. But I think what we're looking for... Yeah, I'll take a look at it, Chris. I mean, we can certainly do an update on it. I think it was a couple of weeks ago that we did that Lunar trade plan. All right. So... what I'm looking at on Restoration Hardware is probably a setup that looks like, it's not probably, it's a setup that looks like this. off that recent rejection, but over that, this is the thing that I'm kind of really debating with myself on. Do you go for 346.58 or 349.80? Make sure you buy plenty of time on these contracts. And I think we can take a shot at that 349.80. Be careful though, watch for a rejection at 346.58. I think ultimately it should get to 349.80. I'm not, not psychic, but I think that 346.58 resistance has been tested enough that any sell wall that's there is probably had some pretty good bites taken out of it and might give way on the next test is kind of what I'm thinking. Over 349.80. Yeah, I think we're kind of just looking at 2-3, these next two levels based on what I'm seeing. 356.05 and then 361.95. Downside certainly gets interesting if we break below this 326.01. I'd be mindful of the hourly 200 SMA and where that's at. Like if it's right below 326.01, be careful getting caught in like a little bit of a fake move to the downside that just gets bounced off of the 200 SMA right after it breaks below. But if it does break below that, I think there could be a level here at 318.49 we might want to pay attention to. Let me just take a quick look through. Not really. And one of the touches on this level is a pre-market extended hours touch, which Restoration Hardware does not really trade clean price action in the extended hours session. So with that being said, I think that takes out my concern over that level as probably just kind of a BSE print. So I wouldn't want to be too greedy and shoot for anything more than this weekly level just below there at 314.95. Yeah, I think we got a level here around 309.39. I wouldn't want to totally ignore. So I would use that as our second price target. Third price target more than likely going to be, yeah, this next weekly level down there at 303.42. So these, plural, are your Restoration Hardware trade plans for our good friend Unknown Reviews. Joining us via YouTube, as always. What you got here, Chris? Show chat window top right. How about Lunar? That's right, I'm telling you. Not only that, but I think that those, small mid-cap trade plans, the thing I really like about them is I think it opens up opportunities for more people to trade these with shares, which is, I do a lot of my trading via shares. But options with, also buying very, very long dated options is an excellent way to play a lot of these trade plans as well. But the mid cap ones, like I said, I like that small mid cap ones, I like that it makes it a little bit more accessible to more traders, newer traders, people working with some smaller accounts and all that stuff. So, all right, let's go through our RH live stream plans that I am posting, trying to post. In the chats here. And let's switch up how I'm doing these. I'm going to post in the watch lists in Discord, and then I'll go into the Elite Options chat and post a link to the live stream plan so I'm not spamming the same thing throughout the server over and over and over again. So what are we looking at here on Restoration Hardware? We're looking for a break above 339.48 to push back for some more upside after a really nice post-earnings move. That should take us up to price targets. We're looking for a break over 339.48. That should give us price targets at 349.80, 356.05, and 361.95, with a stop loss average down at 332.85. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 326.01. That should give us targets at 314.95, 309.39, and 303.42, with a stop loss average down at 332.85. Shared with the upside trade plan. Those are your Restoration Hardware upside and downside plans for you. Unknown reviews, you're very welcome. Go forth and get them. All right, let's take a look at Lunar for Chris, my homie, my dude. That's right. Yeah, Lunar never gave us the break to the upside. At least it doesn't look like it ever did. Yeah, there's a little bit of a pretty convincing looking break and back test. So I think your boy JTW probably, this was a plan that, again, I didn't personally trade, but oh, wait a second. Wait, this plan didn't go into place until here. Never mind. I was like, I think I might have gotten us into a trap there, but that happened before I published the trade plan. So take that back. And again, I haven't personally traded this Lunar plan. So it keeps breaking below and rejecting. Then we got up to our stop loss average down, rejected it back down and back below that 809 level, very close to PT1. Just take a look at this on the hourly as well real quick. You know, this could be, I'll just throw it out here. This could be an interesting one to buy the dip as long as it's over 716, holding that as support. I'll throw that out there kind of just as a thought, but let's put together an actual plan. All right, let me tighten this up then. Sorry, I was just trying to get my bearings there for a moment. Yeah, I mean, but essentially we're talking about the same level there, man. Yeah, and I think 720 is probably a little bit more accurate than this level I've got here, for what it's worth. So yeah, I could certainly see that level sitting a little bit more like right there. Well spotted, Chris. All right, so how do we want to potentially trade Lunar moving forward is the question. Interesting level right around here. 774. I know I just got real quiet. I'm thinking about something here. Yeah, I think there's a setup here. This is how I would look at it. Mic check. Who's checking their mic? What's up, Chris? How are you, buddy?
Good. Any other tip requests, guys? We're not getting enough requests here. Let me know. Hit the show chat window on the top right corner, guys. quick bus while we're on it, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, for sure. Also, quick reminder, everybody, especially those of you who are Xtrades members, we do have our survey open for last month's, top earners and prospects performance. So make sure you guys are filling that out in the app. Your feedback is critical to making sure that we are delivering everything you guys are looking for. The thing that's got, I like this setup. The thing that's got me a little bit kind of on the fence about it is this. You guys who've watched these in the past already know what I'm getting ready to look at. It's right on the line. So I'd say it's acceptable. And it's a potentially early entry. I think ultimately this move is going to take us to 878 if it can break back over 774. But there is rejection potential opportunity there at 824. And again, I think there's also an interesting buy the dip here as long as 721, 720. Chris and I both looking at a similar level there. Holds. This could be a good buy the dip opportunity for sure. So anyway, some things to think about here on Lunar, but let me finish up this trade plan. So then the other interesting level, do we push all the way for 938? The level I've already got mapped out here. I think there is a potential spot slightly lower, and with something that trades sub $10. Pennies kind of do matter. So is it 922 or 938 we want to shoot for is the debate I am having with myself. Let's see if we can get some confirmation here back through this little stretch. I could make a case for both, honestly. So you guys know me. You know that when in doubt, I'm going to shoot one level closer to the price action and not be greedy if I'm really torn between what's going to happen with a potential price target, especially a third price target. At that point, we've already had a really nice percent return, regardless of if you're talking about options or shares. All right, so downside, I mean, clearly it gets interesting below 721, right? That's a key level that both Chris and I are paying attention to. I think there's a potential better, more confirmed downside entry right around this like 667 to 686 range. That's what, again, I said just a moment ago, pennies count. So with these smaller tickers. So I want to make sure that we're really perfecting this entry as much as we can perfect it. Yeah, I think it's right around the 674. I think that below that, we definitely get confirmation that we're likely to see more downside. I believe that is going to take us probably right around to where this rejection was previously. I think we've got, yep, there's another rejection, another kind of consolidation below resistance there. So yeah, I think we'd be remiss to not go ahead and take some profit downside here at 614. Below 614, I like this 550 level. Potential for a bounce just below that. But I think there's a chance to push for 504 below that. So this is what the lunar trade plans are shaping up to look like. Let's see. Why did I make that so thick? There we go. All right. Let's do this, expand that. Short position. All right. Let's go. Here are the lunar live stream plans. We're going to talk through these real quick. All right, so don't forget we're talking about a potential buy the dip off of 721 here. If you want a stop loss average down for that 721 buy the dip entry, 674 or a break below the 333 SMA here on the hourly, either of those I think starts to put too much of a bearish lean on things for that buy the dip entry to really have a lot of life left. If we're looking for a more confirmed entry though, we're waiting for a break above 774. That should give us a first target at 824, second target at 878, and final upside target there at 922. Potential for it to try for 938, but again, we're going to shoot a little bit more conservative if we're torn between two potential price targets. So 922 is what we're going with. Stop loss average down on this plan is off that buy the dip level that I mentioned a moment ago at 721. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 674. That should give us targets at 614, 550, and 504 with a stop loss average down shared with the upside trade plan at that key 721 level. Those are your lunar trade plans, upside or downside. All right, let's see. J-Rog coming in with... I just saw your GIF there, Chris. I like that. That's good. All right. J-Rog over in the Discord side of things asking for Oxy. Let's take a look at Oxy. Well, pretty clear rejection off this 54.40 pre-existing level. It's clearly been a little while since I've looked at the Oxy chart. Let's see, my last trade plan for it was like May of this year. So let's clean things up a little bit. Oops. And then we'll get this plan knocked out. Jeez, got all kinds of weird drawings on this. All right, there we go. Now we're cooking. All right. Occidental Petroleum, right? Yeah. War in the Middle East could be an interesting catalyst for this one. But let's figure out how we want to set ourselves up for success here. All right, so let me go back a little bit here as well. It's got bought up early. Looking for some more price action down and closer to this range that we're currently in. I don't know how far back we're going to have to go to find it, though. Here we go. That's what I was looking for. That's kind of what I was expecting to see. Yeah. So I think there's a level here I don't have my previous charting right around this. Yeah, 54.90. We're at 53.63 currently. Interesting gap down there. Top of that gap. Yeah, I think that does shape up as a nice stop loss average down as I'm looking at this, how we might want to set this plan up. There's a potential earlier entry here, but I don't think we get really good confirmation until we're over 54.90 based on what I'm seeing. Does that line up? Yep. Over 54.90. I think we're looking at, well, you know what? It could push a little higher, actually. Yeah, I'd be looking at 56.25. First price target. Make sure you're giving yourself plenty of time on the contracts for this. Second target, I think we've already got in place here with this level at 57.10. Over 57.10. I say take a shot at this weekly level at 58.21. Yeah, what's the have you looked at the options chain, Chris? What's the implied volatility on Lunar right now, if you don't mind? Like for like a month out, 5 weeks out, something like that. What is the IV showing on the options chain? So downside, I think we need to wait for a break below this 52.34. We got a recent bounce off here. There is a level I don't have on my chart yet, but there's a level that does exist. Whoops, this is our entry, not a stop loss.
Yeah, it's like over 100% for November calls.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, and for those watching on YouTube, Chris just chimed in on Discord saying it was over 100% IV on the call. So, yeah, it could be an interesting one. Buy that dip, let it hit PT1, and then sell some covered calls against it. I'll take a quick look at. So, like, I would look to sell. I don't know what's on. Did it have an 850 on the options chain? Or yeah, I just sell 850 or $9 calls on a Testa 824, expecting a actual rejection around 878, and if it doesn't, take your profits on the shares, keep your premium from selling your calls, sell cash secured puts if you still like exposure to Lunar at that point. So yeah, good call, man. I like that. What the hell was I just looking at? Oxy. All right. So I was trying to figure out the stop loss average down for this. I think it's going to sit somewhere. Yeah, right about here.
We host this live stream every Tuesday and Thursday, guys. Every Tuesday and Thursday, 1 hour before the market opens. If you happen to have to leave early, or maybe you missed the first half of it, you can always rewatch it on YouTube. We post this live stream immediately after it finishes, so you can always check it out. sometimes the levels do not play out on the same day. They might play out a week later, 2 weeks later. Doesn't always play out the same day. So keep that in mind. You can always rewatch the video, set your levels, rewatch it, slow down the playback speed if you have to, or increase the playback speed if you have to, and just keep those levels on watch, set some alerts, and I promise you will benefit more than not. So just something to note there, guys.
Yeah, I agree 100%, Chris. Well said. All right, I think we're gonna take a shot. I know we've got kind of a tight PT1, PT2 setup. Could shoot a little bit lower actually for PT2. The more I look at this, let's do that. Let's make that shift. Still kind of a tight PT1, PT2, but all right. I think we got it. Let's go. And then I'm going to get the SPY plan put together for today. And then I'm going to start working on this idea. I should have some time today between my trading and other things I have going on. Work on this idea that start feeding some of these trade plan levels into the elite options chat via TradingView. Well, really, it's a Discord webhook that I will feed TradingView alerts into the Discord from. All right. So, yep. All right. Let me post this. These are Oxy live stream plans. And in both chats there and there. All right, so what are we looking for on Occidental Petroleum? We're looking for a break over 54.90. There is a potential earlier entry here over 54.90, or sorry, 54.40. But I like it. I think we have better confirmation and we open up more room to the upside with a lower probability of rejections between our entry and PT1 if we extend that entry up a little bit to 54.90. But if you want to be a little bit more aggressive, mark on your chart 54.40 is the potential entry there. Over 54.90, the confirmed entry though, we're looking at price targets at 56.25, 57.10, and 58.21 with a stop loss average down at 53.91. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 52.34. That should give us targets at 51.63, 50.98, and 49.91 with a stop loss average down at 53.07. Those are your Oxy trade plans, upside and downside. So with that, we're getting pretty close to 10 minutes out from market open. Like I said, I do need to go get the SPY plan put together and posted in the options watch list for our Discord community. That thing is a daily money printer for the most part, so I want to make sure that we've always got that available for our Xtrades members. So with that, I hope you guys finish the week strong. I hope you've had an excellent week so far. We will be back next Tuesday morning at 8:30 a.m. Just like Chris said, every Tuesday and Thursday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be doing these FOMO live streams for our Xtrades community and for those who are subscribing and checking us out on the Xtrades YouTube. So with that, as we always say here on the FOMO live streams, plan your trades, trade your plans, keep your wins big, keep your losses small. Yeah, we also have, for those in the Discord, the Xtrades Getting Up to Speed with Chris. Those are always great sessions. Make sure you join those tomorrow morning. What time is that, Chris, tomorrow morning? Does that start at like 9 or something?
Yeah, pretty much 45 minutes before the market opens.
8:45? Okay, cool. Everybody come back 8:45 tomorrow. If you're in the Discord into the morning live stream, hook up with Chris. He is an excellent steward of the Xtrades community and make sure that everybody knows exactly what all you have at your disposal as an Xtrades member. So with that, I've already hit you guys with the slogans one too many times. So you guys have a fantastic day. Finish your week strong. I will see you next Tuesday. Thank you so much for taking some time to join me this morning. I hope you'll come back next Tuesday morning at 8:30 a.m. Take care. Have a fantastic day. And don't forget, go fill out your surveys on the Xtrades app. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.